Hi, I'm David Landis, and welcome to my studio slash pole barn slash studio. If you've watched my previous videos, you know that what is behind me has changed. We're out at my pole barn, which is becoming my studio. I've mentioned previously that I am also an artist, and I have been blessed to move to a place that I now have something I can turn into my studio. It's in the process of transition. It's was this thing the previous owner used it as storage and a shed and a workshop, and it's becoming an artist studio. But there's a lot of work that has to happen between here and here. I've got people coming in a couple weeks to shoot a video here about an art project that I'm working on that I will talk about more in the future. But I have to get some work done in here and make this space my studio. We've been here right at a year, and I've just been busy with so many other things. And that's part of why I'm talking and sharing with you is how do we fit something new, a project, big or small, into our already busy lives? We all have so much going on. There's so many things around us wanting our time. But each of us has something that we want to create, something in some way that we want to grab more of life, that we want to get more juice out of life, that we want more excitement, more of something, or just different than what it has been. You want it to go from being a pole barn to being a studio. I don't know what that transition is for you, but there is a lot of work in the meantime. And I'm here to help share my experiences and to encourage you and to do my part in trying to help along your way. And by sharing my journey and my experiences, I have relentlessly studied this stuff and looked for ways to make things happen that I don't know how to make happen. Because overwhelm is so easy. It's so easy to become overwhelmed and fearful and just want to give up because you don't know how to create the space in your life for that new thing, whatever it is. So, today I'm going to talk about time blocking. This is something practical. This is something I use. It's something I'm always practicing. Practicing as in putting into motion, working with, seeing how it works, applying, adjusting. And that's what I encourage you to do. I'm going to share with you the general idea and share with you how I use it, but apply it to your life. I know that your life isn't my life, and we all have different things going on. I get it. I know. I just want to encourage you and share with you something that has worked for me, is working for me, helping me go from not having a studio to having a studio to creating the space. I'm fitting this in. I'm creating the space for this to happen in the next 2 weeks. It's overwhelming. I can't explain to you. We all know I'm no different than you. I have a busy schedule. I have a full life, and I'm not going to give up. And I don't want you to give up. I just want to help, and I want to encourage, and I want to share with you some ways that might help you fit something else into your life in a different way. I'm not talking about adding more. I'm talking about changing. I'm talking about creating space. Sometimes you have to look at things differently first. So let me get into it. The idea is time blocks, chunks of time. Looking at time and a project or something you want to do differently. You can look at time blocks as large or small. For example, Saturdays. I try to make Saturdays studio Saturdays. Another thing you add into this is the idea of playing. The idea of making it a game and doing whatever it is you need to do with yourself to get yourself motivated, to get yourself going, to make you do what it is that needs to get done if you want to have what you want to have. So, the theme idea, I heard that from a guy named Todd Herman. He teaches, and I'm sure he's not the only one that has that idea. I've heard other people talk about it, but his is the name that comes to mind. The idea of themes for your day. Studio Saturdays, we'll start there. And then within that Saturday, I didn't just say, okay, Saturday's the day that I spend in the studio. My wife knows my schedule. I've been doing this for months now. And so I kind of began to look at my schedule differently when I plan things. When people say, hey, what about this or this or this, I try to protect Saturday for me. Again, if you've got a different schedule than mine, I know. I mean, when my kids were younger and sports Saturdays were consumed with days at the field. Soccer field, softball field, baseball field, football field. It just was not possible. For me now, Saturday works. So you take a day and you protect it for a project. If you don't have a day, or if you want to work within that day, like I said, when I came out here on Saturday, I didn't just, okay, today is just day in the studio. I get too distracted, I'm too all over the place, I get bored, whatever. I have to keep playing games with myself, and I have to keep working with this whole idea of blocking time so that I get more done, so that I'm more productive, not just to be busy, but to be productive, to do what I want to do, to make things happen that I want to make happen. So Saturday when I came out here, I worked in 50-minute blocks. For 50 minutes, if it was pulling nails in a 90-degree metal building, that's what I did for 50 minutes. Was I perfect? No. Did I get off track every now and then? Yeah, but I still had something that kept bringing me back. I was playing this game, and I didn't let myself quit. But I kept at it. I knew if I worked for 50 minutes, I'd get a 10-minute break. And then 10 minutes, I can do what I want. Go see my wife, get a drink, play with the dogs. I don't know, look at my phone, whatever it was. But I set my timer on my phone for 50 minutes. And then even within that large chunk, I said, how many chunks do I want to fit into this day? What does a win today look like? How am I going to win today? How am I going to feel good when I go to sleep? What is it that would need to happen today that would make me feel like I've won? And for me, it was 8 chunks. I thought if I got good 8 hours of hard work in here, I make some progress. And I can also judge in the future how much work I can get done. I'm playing with this, I'm practicing this just along with you. So I came out here and I got 7.25, 7.5 if I'm generous, of good work, but it's okay. Another priority, my son came over and I spent time with helping him do something. I spent some time with my wife. I did some other stuff. I still, while I was doing those things, was mindful of what I was doing, and I intentionally did other things because they were important. Time with my son was important, even if Saturday was my studio day. Even if I hadn't gotten my 8 chunks of time in, the bigger priority was spending time with my son or my wife or whatever was going on or whatever was important. The idea was to be intentional and to focus. So, time blocks. Begin to think about your time differently. Large chunks, if you've got them, and then even within those large chunks, can you chunk it down into smaller parts? Start with 10 minutes. I'm going to power through the stack of mail sitting on my desk or on the counter, and then I'm going to take a 5-minute break and drink a cup of coffee, play a video game. I don't know, whatever it is for you that's a reward. Power back through for 10 minutes and just go until you get that project done and move on to the next. Begin to practice with it. Begin to play with it. It doesn't have to, there is no perfect. It's just a way to move forward and a way to focus and spend the time spend your time the way you want to spend your time. So I hope this helps, and I look forward to future conversations, and I look forward to talking about this more. I love talking about this stuff. I love figuring out how to make things happen. I love the idea of playing with possible. I love what might happen if my perception of what is possible changed. I pray that you are well, and I look forward to future conversations.